Today I fucked up by secretly eating mushrooms while my wife was asleep in a house full of cats. This happened a good long while ago now, so not really today. It was April when I started this journey. During the winter, I became a member of a magic mushroom forum and was learning all I could about growing magic mushrooms. I tried it once before and grew only a yellowish-green mush that smelled of sweaty socks, but this time would be different. I had a spore print sent to me and was off to the races. I had tried mushrooms once before about 10 years prior, and the experience was rather enjoyable. I've had way too many bad experiences with LSD to ever think about trying it, and from what I remembered, the mushroom experience was much less chaotic and harsh for me than the majority of my acid trips had been. After following every tip I could gather, and about a month and a half of waiting, I had viable mushrooms drying in the food dehydrator. The whole journey, from spore print to fruit, was done for reasons I don't yet have a great grasp on. I was thinking at the time that growing them would impart some spiritual meaning into my experience. It had been a long, long time since I had taken any illegal substance, and I wanted it to be special in some way. Growing them myself was an attempt at providing that, I guess. The night I took them, I really wasn't planning on doing so. I was bored out of my wits and chatting with online friends. I told them I was going to eat my mushrooms but didn't know how much to eat without a scale. I took a few pics of my intended dose and posted them, and immediately got advice to cut that dose in half. So, with my wife asleep, I went down to the kitchen and made a concoction of purple slushy and powdered mushrooms and gulped it down. I came back up and told the chatters that the deal was done and that I was taking a shower and would be back once the fun started. In the shower about 5 minutes when I felt a rush like consciousness was being pulled away from my body. I was fighting to keep it with me. It felt as though as I had let it fly away, I would have had a full out-of-body experience, but for some reason I felt compelled to hold on to it. I quickly turned off the water and looked down at my feet. They seemed miles away. That is when it hit me that the shrooms were kicking in. Out of the shower, and I put on the same clothes I came in with and headed upstairs. The shower is in the basement of the house, and there is a door at the top of the stairs. Opening the door, the light from the kitchen blasted my eyes and I got a good gauge of how far along in the experience I was. I would see that the kitchen floor looked smooth and had a liquid-like texture, but before I could survey any more, my black cat ran down in the basement. I didn't want to forget about him down there, and it never really thought that I could just leave the door open and shoo any members of our herd that wandered down there after my trip. I trudged down the stairs after him and scooped him up and started back up the stairs. Halfway up, a brown blur flew down the stairs as another cat dove to the basement. I tossed the black one in the kitchen and went after the brown one. While picking up brown one, the black cat came back down the steps again and I scooped him up too. Now I'm carrying 2 cats up the stairs. At the top of the stairs, the door is wide open and I see our other 3 cats had come to investigate the commotion. As I made the final push to the top, they all jumped into action like they planned it in advance. I started laughing hysterically, let go of the cats in my arms and sat on the top step as I watched all the cats bounce down the stairs. I found the whole situation so funny. Here I am coming up hard on mushrooms. I can feel the confusion building every second, and now I have to figure a way of getting all 5 cats out of the basement. By the time I had collected myself and devised a plan, my face was hot and objects were starting to move. The time dilation had manifested, and minutes were seeming to take longer and longer. My plan was to go down and capture 1 cat at a time and usher them upstairs. Once I got to 5, the task would be complete. I raced down and grabbed the first cat I came across, and ran to the landing and toss it, pretty forcefully, up the last 3 steps into the kitchen so it would get the point that I didn't want them down there. Back down I went and did the same thing. That's 2 down and 3 to go. I was getting more confused by the minute and on the 4th cat. I had forgot how many cats I had previously ushered up the stairs. On my way back down, I decided to count the cats downstairs, and that would let me know how many were upstairs. Unfortunately, the whole time I had neglected one key detail in my foolproof plan. The door was still open. Just as I reached the basement floor, the whole hard can stampeding down again. Plan A was an utter failure. Formulated just as quickly as Plan A was Plan B. Cats have got names, right? I will count the cats as I bring them up and remember the name of each cat so that I don't lose track like the last time. Brilliant! I thump back down the stairs and grab Funchy, the black one, and take him upstairs. He quickly tries to run back down and I push him back and close the door. Back downstairs, I grab another cat. Sammy, number 2, I think as I put her upstairs and close the door behind me. At this point, my mind is worn out. Things are moving very well and walls have waves in them and on them. It is all but impossible to keep my mind on the task at hand. Those two things, coupled with the fact that the time dilation is making the last 5 minutes chasing these beasts feel like I've been at it for hours, is making this fool's errand about as much as my brain could handle in its current state. I trudge on trying to complete this task and grab another cat, but again at the top of the stairs I forgot where I was in the order. I put that cat upstairs and tried to count the cats up there to give me an idea of how many were left. But of course, they are not in the kitchen anymore. And again it escapes me that if I just bring up cats until I run out of cats to retrieve, I will be through with this clusterfuck. Unable to think past my current predicament, I race around upstairs looking for the cats that had been brought up, and they are nowhere to be found. My state had grown worse, and I start thinking that maybe they got outside, but there was no way they could get out because no one opened the door! The door! I forgot to close the basement door. Fuck! Ran back into the kitchen and down the stairs for the 50 quadrillionth time, and bam! There they were, all 5 of them. Safe and sound. I had found the missing cats. They weren't outside. My wife would have killed me if they were gone. Me, all high and shit, and the cats go missing, I might as well pack my shit and go. What a relief. I love my kitties. Wait, are we still in the basement? No, I am done. My mental ability is gone. Each trip up and down felt like an eternity. I had only just enough energy left to get upstairs to the couch. I kneel by the couch and think about what I am going to do. I am mentally exhausted because apparently counting to 5 is impossible while on mushrooms. My mind racing to come up with a solution to this impossible problem, and never once did I think of just leaving them down there until they found something more entertaining to do than drive me out of my fucking mind. The white flag was up. It was over. I needed the big gun. It was 2 or 3 a.m., and she had to get up and go to work in the morning, but I had no choice. I needed an adult. I would have to wake my wife. She would make it all better. She will tame those damn hellions and all will be fine. But it wasn't fine. I went upstairs to our room and woke her in the gentlest way possible. By jumping on the bed and yelling, "Help!" I took mushrooms. 5 cats are in the basement and I can only count to 4. Not the way I had envisioned it going down in my head, but I was happy to get that much out without forgetting the reason I woke her up in the first place. Sleepily, she marched down the stairs and I led her to the kitchen where the basement door was still wide open. All I could do was stand at the door and point down the stairs. I think I may have whimpered a little too with my gesture. She was not amused. I thought I was finally going to get closure. She would get the cats from the basement and I would be saved, but no. My saviour turned to tormentor as she said the only words in the word that could crush me into an even more pitiful state. "Well, go get 'em," she said. She didn't understand that I was fighting this fight for what seemed like days now and wanted nothing more than to curl up in the corner and cry until I fell asleep. She had no clue how close I was to a breakdown. Tears welled up as crossed the threshold of the basement door and descended again into my personal hell. I scooped up a kitty and carried it slowly upstairs, setting it on the kitchen floor. "One," my wife said in a long, drawn-out voice like she was talking to a 2-year-old. Back down I went and grabbed up another bundle of joy and slinked up the stairs only to be shamed again. By the 3rd cat, short, audible poo-poo sounds were coming from me as I was almost to the breaking point. My wife had begun to laugh at me and seemed to laugh harder each time I came up even more beaten than before. When the last cat came up, I was greeted by a sighing "and 5" and a "now was that so hard" from my wife. I tried to apologise, but she waved me off with a stern "we'll talk about this in the morning" and walked upstairs to bed. The cat ordeal was over, but the trip was far from it. I was immensely grateful to my online buddies who talked me into halving the dose because the rest of the night was filled with confusion and mindfuckery and intense time dilation. Not really a bad trip as bad trips go, but not at all enjoyable. I think I can cross shrooms off the list of viable boredom relievers. I won't be doing them again anytime soon, that is for sure.